the Gen Z it girl. You're so badass. You're unapologetically yourself, and you made sitar very cool.
Show some love for Anoushka Shankar.
I was just there being myself. There was a juxtaposition in how people saw the sitar and how sitar players were meant to look and be and talk and behave, and I was never that.
Grew up in a house watching a legend in front of you play the sitar.
I learned music from my father from the beginning. I was the only person to be trained by him right from the beginning of how to hold the instrument, where the notes are. So I was really shaped by him. He really made a conscious decision that he wanted to have as much of a father-daughter relationship with me as he could, and he didn't want to be the kind of guru his guru was. I could put my head in his lap or my feet in his lap if we were in front of the TV around, and that was father and daughter, and then we were in the music room, and that was guru and shishya. That's what's happening there.
Recently is another shishya of your father, who's Rishab Sharma. How do you feel about where it's going with the craft?
Rishab is really talented, and he's clearly speaking to people in a really wonderful way. And he had a couple of lessons with my father, kind of very informally, sweetly, with Parimal uncle also.
So excited for all the tours coming up,
Me
but
too.
also the Grammys. And it's your 12th and your 13th.
Yeah.
How has balance been for you?
I think we do women in particular a real disservice by pretending balance is easy and achievable, especially when they have children. Once I'd had a kid, and it's like, oh, who's going on tour and who's doing the home? I lived in Delhi, but my mum's Tamil and Malayali, and my dad was Bengali.
Wow.
So it's very schizophrenic for me to try and choose one because they all feel like home. But if I had to pick, I feel like South Indian food is the healthiest to eat every day.
Dosa's life.
Dosa, but also just there's actual vegetables that still have the color that they were born with.
How has your definition of love changed over the years, It's a mehfil, right? So we have somebody who wants to perform. It's their original.
No way.
It's special to have you here today, Anoushka. And thank you so much for doing this and joining us on All India Mehfil.
It's such a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And I know you've just taken a flight and you've come here, and we're so excited because, we have this conversation, like, who do you want to see on Mehfil? And your name has come up so many times. Yeah, because
that's nice. Yeah.
you're the Gen Z it girl. You're so badass. You're unapologetically yourself. And you made sitar very cool. And at a time when it wasn't cool. So how did you do it? And how has your journey led you up to this point?
So I guess the sitar was always cool to a certain amount of people. And then anyone else that maybe wasn't brought up with it or exposed to it kind of felt like it wasn't for them, or the whole music style it was associated with was something kind of intimidating that they didn't know how to approach. So I think what happened with me, especially in the 90s and the early 2000s was I was just there being myself, and I happened to be a sitar player. And so there was a juxtaposition in how people saw the sitar and how sitar players were meant to look and be and talk and behave. And I was never that. And it could be a mix of a lot of things. I don't think it's as simple as saying it's multicultural, even though that's part of it. But it just wasn't that. Like something really simple that you just don't even think you have to talk about now, but like doing an interview in jeans and posing with a sitar as a teenager, but people are like, oh, that's a sitar player, but she looks young and maybe being female as well. But mainly, I think just being honest about who I was. And it kind of maybe showed that you didn't have to be one certain type of person to love and play this music and this instrument. And maybe it opened it up to some other people as well.
Yeah. And how did your formative years have an impact on, the craft? Because you grew up in a house watching a legend in front of you play the sitar. So what was it like growing up in that atmosphere?
I mean, I love that you say that because it was learning and it was also the atmosphere. And I think they both played a really important part. Of course, I learned music from my father from the beginning. You know, I was the only person to be trained by him right from the beginning of how to hold the instrument, where the notes are. So I was really shaped by him for years. But then also he had so many other disciples who were taking lessons from him all the time or who were practicing in the house every day. They were like my brothers. So music was around, 8 to 12 hours of the day. And even the meals, my dad was always making up musical games for everyone to play. There were incredible people visiting. And I think one of the things it really showed me is that it is a craft, that people were literally sitting there playing constantly, that they were thinking it, they were dreaming it, my dad was also pushing himself, challenging himself. He was someone that people saw as being at the summit of music, but he was there thinking, what else can I do? What can I come up with? The legends who would visit, they were also humble, curious. They were not walking around like they knew everything. Yeah. And I think for me, that was the biggest lesson about music, was how infinite it is, that no master is walking around feeling like they've mastered it, you know? Wow. And that really drew me.
Who are some of these legends? Give me a few anecdotes.
Well, I don't do anecdotes.
We love it. We love details.
I guess, pretty much you name it, and people were coming through. But the people that I really had a relationship with and loved dearly were like Ustad Zakir Hussain, of course. He was like an uncle for me. I played my first few shows with him, so he was very important to me. Friends of my father's, whether it was George Harrison or the violinist legend Yehudi Menuhin, Zubin Mehta, our great conductor. So these were people who were like giants already, when I was a kid and continue to be. But they all had that same thing in common, this kind of childlike curiosity about their work and a humility and just a love of the art.
Yeah. How young were you when you first held the sitar for the first time?
The first time I was 7.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember it really clearly because I really didn't want to do it.
Okay, so tell me all about that first time.
I was just basically out in the garden. This was in Delhi. We were living in Delhi at the time. And I was out in the garden playing with some kids. And I got called inside because I think the small sitar that my mom had ordered for me had arrived. And so they wanted me to come and play it. And my main memory is just wanting to get it over with as quickly as possible so I could go back to the garden where it was so much more fun. So I can't say it was love at first sight.
So when did the love happen? When did you're like, okay, now I'm in love, and I want to keep playing.
Yeah, so when I say it was not love in first sight, that was, I think, with playing the instrument, but I was already in love with the music. I had already loved listening to the music. It was around from as early as I can remember. My mom especially took me to so many shows. And so I loved art. I loved music. I loved hearing it. The love of playing took longer. I would say some years even. Because first of all, it's not an easy instrument to play. Yeah. So as a kid, it's quite uncomfortable. It hurts. Your fingers cut, all that stuff. But also I found it slightly intimidating, the world that it came with, and obviously playing my father's instrument. So I think that stuff kind of made it take a little longer for me to develop a personal relationship with playing. But I got taken on this journey. As I said earlier, my dad taught me from when I was young. And so what happens in our traditional guru-shishya relationship, it's like you're held by the hand and you're taken through these worlds, So it's like sitting alongside my father. I was a beginner, but you get taken places you can't go yourself because that person is playing and showing you these ideas that you repeat and learn and follow. And so it became intoxicating. Like over time, I was starting to see what he was so in love with by accompanying him in that way. So yeah, within a few years, I'd say by the time I was 12, I knew I wanted to do it.
Wow. Yeah. That's very young. I mean, there are people who go through lifetimes not wanting to know that this is what I'm meant to do.
Yeah. I don't know if there's one thing we're meant to do, but if we're lucky enough to find something we can do that we also love, what more can we ask for?
Yeah.
Not everyone gets to do that. I had other interests, but this was one of my big loves. And I think I had another crossroads when I was about 18 and I made a decision not to go to university. So I think that was maybe the first time I made a really conscious choice that, yes, I'm already playing. Yes, this is a career. Yes, this is what I want. Because up until then, I kind of had a fantasy that I'd do this, with my family and tour and all of that. But maybe at that point, I'd escape to university and just see if there were other things I maybe wanted to do. But by then, it felt clear.
Yeah. What other hobbies did you have?
I guess my main other love was always writing. I've always loved the written word for precisely the opposite reason that I love music. There's an abstraction to music, which is why it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Whatever I pour into my music or another artist pours into their music gets slightly hidden, and people can hear what they need to, and it becomes theirs.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so powerful. Whereas the power of the written word is how specific it is.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to express, what you need to say, what you see of the world, it's right there. And I feel like writing gave me that counter to.
I feel like I'm talking to myself because
because
I read J.K. Rowling, I read
Yeah.
Harry Potter,
Yeah.
and I always thought it was a male author because that's how she wanted it to play out, right? She used J.K. Rowling so that people think it's a male figure and buy more copies because at that point female authors weren't bestsellers. And I discovered that she was a woman. I was like, oh my God, I can be her and I can write, and I've always written and it's still, I guess I still have a lot to do with writing.
Nice.
Yeah, but I felt what you said in terms of how you convey things with the play of words, I think it is.
I think it's really powerful. And
Yeah.
it's something I always loved.
Yeah. Talk to me about the relationship with your father, given that you use this term guru shishya. So that's a very that's a formal relationship, right? But there's a formal relationship with a very intimate person in your life, which is your father.
Yeah.
So how did that duality play out as you were growing up,
Yeah.
given that he was teaching you and would be the same because he had many other students, but you were his daughter?
I mean, to be honest, that's a question that he may have had more to say in response to than me, because it was my only experience.
Yeah.
And it was strange, and it was wonderful, and it was difficult, and it was beautiful. All of those things are true. But for him, as you say, he really had to think about teaching a daughter as compared to his other disciples. And he really made a conscious decision that he wanted to have as much of a father-daughter relationship with me as he could. And he didn't want to be the kind of guru his guru was, or in those senses of like being so strict that I'd be too frightened to just be a casual daughter, Yeah. So he really had to kind of adapt his teaching, and also I think put a lot of conscious effort into how he was with me outside of the music room. So as much as I was definitely shown that there was a sanctity about the music room and about when we had our instruments in our hand, that I could put my head in his lap or my feet in his lap if we were in front of the TV, and we could joke and we could mess around, and that was father and daughter. And then we were in the music room, and that was still father and daughter, but it's guru and shishya. That's what's happening there. And so I think we kind of learned to code switch and found a way to make that work.
Yeah.
But I also think that I can't answer that question without my mom being in the picture, because it's because of her that they could round it out and give me a full parenting experience where he could take a little step back on the more day-to-day aspects of parenting and be my teacher, and my mom was there to do all the rest.
It sounds very structured and very disciplined, as it would be, right? Because like you said, it's not an easy instrument to play. Plus, it's not one of the popular instruments to play, right? Because like you hear of people playing the guitar, the piano, but not enough people playing the sitar. What was your routine like? And did you ever feel like this is taking this amount of time from you? And the other aspects of your life, especially during growing up, right? There's so much you want to do. There's so much you want to explore. Also, socializing is such a big factor. Did you feel first of all, what was your routine like? And did you feel like I'm just here and not anywhere else?
I mean, there's so much I could say in response to that. I have to choose where to go. I mean, in a lot of ways, I had a really weird childhood, especially teenage years. It was very unusual. I was touring from when I was 13. But also, unlike a lot of touring artists, I made the decision to stay in normal school and go to I was in the States by that time and going to public schools. So I was on one hand having this sort of normal Californian public school experience. And on the other, I was traveling all around the world, playing all these major concert halls across all these continents and meeting, incredible artists and having this whole other world happening, coming to India for 2-3 months every winter at least, so that we were here for the music season. So I'd be missing school to do that every year. So I had to bend over backwards as a student to kind of make it work, telling teachers, I'm missing 4 months of school this year, 3 months of school this year, 5 months this year. And I would have to go to each teacher one at a time to get my schoolwork and get permission and make it work. And it was really hard. And I don't think I got a lot of off time in my brain because I was always, as you say, I was immersed in a classical music style, but I was also doing normal life, which, is what it is. But I think what also happened is that I was so aware that I had been living this kind of nomadic life, moving between, India, the UK, America, leaving friendships, moving schools, that I actually became really good at making and keeping relationships. Like I started to become a very active participant in that process. So even early teenage years, I was writing like airmail, the old like dying art, old airmails and letters. I'd be posting cards to friends from all around the world. Once it started getting a little cheaper, I'd be making phone calls. But I would build and make friendships with people. So that in a weird way became a good thing, because that's still, I think, one of my greatest strength is the kind of friendships I have in my life. But also I did miss, I'd be gone for the winter formal, and at that time that felt like the end of the world because I was missing something really key, or romance was always very difficult, because if you're dating as a teenager and going second date in 2.5 months, you
gotta wait.
Yeah, it doesn't work very well. So there were downsides, of course.
It is what it is. It brought you to this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think to answer very honestly, the tell is also that I parent my own kids very differently than I was parented. So obviously it's affected me to the point that like my priority with them is more that they're having what I think of as a balanced life or a happy life, or that they're being kids, much more than
holistically
excelling at some art form or being a prodigy or making sure they're doing anything like I did early. Or so clearly that mattered somewhere in my subconscious enough that I'd rather they just have an easygoing childhood. But I wouldn't go back and change anything, as you say, as cliche as it sounds, because I really like where I am right now. So,
but it's a bit of both, obviously.
Yeah.
It's also, it's amazing that you started off so young. And classical music, do you think, has typically been has it been a boys' club, right? Mainly men who have operated in this space, and then you obviously broke out and at such a young age. Have you ever faced that or felt that in your journey?
You're asking such great questions, but they all have so many different answers, because we have to talk about privilege as well, right? Like being my father's daughter, I was really shielded in a lot of ways. So moving through all these spaces, doing the festivals, playing, I was going with my father, who people venerated. So
Correct.
I was also given so much love, so much encouragement, so much respect. I don't know what the difference would have been if I wasn't his daughter. I actually can't tell you that story, because that wasn't my story. When I would step out a little bit, I would see some of the more, the less truly disturbing versions of prejudice, where maybe some elderly gentleman might think they were paying me a compliment by saying, "Oh, you were so good. If I closed my eyes, I wouldn't even know it was a girl that was playing," and that was meant as a compliment. And that stuff to a teenage girl, it could be quite damaging, actually, the way it goes in, But that was the worst of it within music. If you, though, ask me outside of India, because obviously here there was a very specific situation.
Of course.
But I was out there touring globally. So I was doing press around the world. And that, I can say, was a lot more toxic in a way that didn't look like much then. But when you look back, you're like, oh my God. Which, we're all looking at, interviews of Britney or interviews of whoever it may be. And you're like, they asked you that question or that stuff. So I was also in the same time period. I was also a teenager. I was also female. Clearly not in those mainstream pop worlds. but still in the same cultures and ecosystems around the world. So male British journalists or male American journalists, and the kind of thoughts they may have, and the exotification or the minimalization of my work as compared to, you know, how I looked and some tagline about it, and the kind of questions that they all felt like they could ask, and there were no boundaries, there were no filters, there was never anyone in the room to make sure you were okay, you know, just not great. But I don't think we thought in those terms then.
Give me an example of something that in hindsight you're like, you know, that was just inappropriate. Because we all look at this, like sometimes I think back to certain interviews I've done and I'm like, why was I asked that? You know, like back in the day, like, how long do you plan to do this? It's like, it's my career. I plan to do it for a very, very long time. And I answered that back then because I didn't know. And now I'm like, I can't believe I was asked that, you know. It has so many layers of just, I don't know.
I think that's what you're touching on. It's less of one particular question and more if we do this for years. And if you're doing it as a young person, then you are vulnerable, you are malleable. And then the stuff that people in positions of authority or experience or knowledge say affect how we think about ourselves or about the world. So speaking to person after person after person, where maybe one question is, you know, would you get married and have kids, or would you worry that your career would be over? Or one other question is, you know, do you think about your body weight while you're touring so that, you know, since you're on stage? Or some other question is just deeply intrusive about personal life experiences. All of it adds up, right? And it just starts to seep at your self-esteem or your wellness a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So then how did you maneuver that, right? Like, I know that back in the day, it's like...
I had a good few breakdowns, and each time I had to learn how to pick myself up and got a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do? Let's talk about your very viral Instagram post.
Which one?
Which one? Where, you know, you spoke very openly about being trolled
recently,
for posting a photo and you know, the body shaming and so many different layers of things that happen when you exercise choice, which is, I choose to put this photo and it's absolutely my choice, however I may be. Talk to me a little bit about that, because you did post about, you know, the comments and the backlash.
It wasn't even backlash. It wasn't even so big. I just got so pissed off that I wanted to talk about it. So what had happened over a series of time is that now and again, of course, I get these misogynistic or, you know, certain types of supposedly culturally minded comments or whatever they may be. And over time, they were just kind of cataloging in my brain. And then finally I was like, you know, I just want to categorize this and name it what it is, which is men policing women again, you know, because it didn't matter if some of them were complimentary or if they were negative. That wasn't the point. It was down to the policing, you know, where it was even, oh, this is really beautiful, but someone like you playing classical music shouldn't do this. Or like, you're a representative of our culture. You shouldn't let us down by doing this. And doing this is going swimming, you know.
Like wearing a two-piece.
Yeah, exactly. And just that stuff was the stuff more than like if one or two people were saying something negative about my body. But even that, of course, I just think as a woman, it's not that that doesn't affect me. But I think it was worth putting it out there and saying that, like, you know, I don't even know what I'm trying to say now that I'm saying it. But, you know, just something as simple as like, it's actually taken work for me to be comfortable again in a bikini after like 4 abdominal surgeries. You know, like I have scars all over my stomach because of the surgeries that I've had. And to kind of get to the point of like, you know what, I'm okay. And I just think it didn't bother me that people commented, but I also don't want that to be our ecosystem. It shouldn't be okay that people get to comment and like nobody knows each other's journey and just like, shut up.
Yeah.
Just nothing to do with you. Yeah. It's just the overall policing that just feels like it can stop now.
Did it feel good to say what you feel? You know, because there's so many people who say, you know, ignore the trolls or ignore what's being written.
Yeah,
or
I
don't
think,
read your comments.
we hear that a lot, and I don't think it's gotten us very far. You know, I think it's a different thing to think in terms of peace and nonviolence. There's a different strand of, you know, don't rise to something, which has its place, you know, and is very valid. When it comes to talking of things like retaliation or revenge or, you know, these things, yeah, it has its place. When it comes to ignoring a systemic ecosystem that is oppressive to someone or some people, then continuing to be silent is a part of that continued oppression. So even if it's micro, even if it's singular, even if it's, I think every time that we challenge it, we're part of changing that ecosystem just that little bit. So I wouldn't say it felt good to get it off my chest, but I've had enough experience over the years now that every now and then I get that little antenna that like, this is an area I can say something.
Yeah.
And so it feels like a release. It feels good to say something in that sense that like, I know it needs to be said.
Yeah.
I don't feel good because I wish we didn't have to say it.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, when you, for example, some of the comments, right, like you represent classical Indian music or Indian culture.
Or your father.
Or your
They're
father.
going, you're letting your father down. I'm like, wait, hang on. Which one of us knows my father, firstly? Yeah. And secondly, why is my body my father's? Like, are you serious? Like, the level of patriarchy in there is, it's amazing.
So, you're saying this now, but did it ever weigh heavy on you? Like, there are so many people who have sat here and have famous parents or parents who have left a legacy and have spoken about the almost not burden, but the weight of carrying that surname forward, right? Because you have to not only think about, is this my choice, but you have to think about whatever I do, that surname is attached. So did it weigh on you in the initial parts, in the mid parts, or even till today?
Yes. I think there's a really strange, for people whose parents have passed away, one or both, I don't know, but in my case, I've lost my father, and I feel like there was a shift in how I move through the world since he passed away, which makes me wonder if some of the things I've chosen since then I may have chosen differently before. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
That maybe I can say things now that may have hurt him, but it's not going to hurt him. So I can say it if I feel like it needs to be said.
Your experience as being a woman who's out there, and like I said in the very beginning, unapologetically yourself, right? Like you post what you want to. You'll talk about things that are extremely intimate and sensitive, or just being you, which a lot of people, not just women, struggle with. So have you arrived at this after a series of, okay, I'm struggling to be myself versus okay, now I am
absolutely.
myself?
I think there are other people I can think of, and obviously perception is always different from reality, but there are other people I can think of where it seems as if they have a complete comfort just being themselves. And it's just, what you see is what you get. This is who I am. Take it or leave it. I don't bend for anyone. I don't have that. I wish I had that. I'm a lot more self-conscious. I'm very insecure. I'm very overthinking about stuff. But it has been a long-term journey of trusting small steps at a time. Yeah. And with each step, I gain the confidence that works. I think music really helps with that, because being a musician, I've found that I make my best music when I'm, and this sounds so obvious, but I make my best music when I'm not thinking in terms of what's going to work, or what is the sound right now, or how do I fulfill this brief. I can only make my best music when it's really dropping into like, where am I? What am I feeling about? How can I play into that feeling? How can I stop thinking about the listeners enough to just be so safe that I play anything really simple, really vulnerable, even if it's stupid, and then the best stuff comes out, because it's intuitive and it's honest. And I think that is such an amazing life path example, because it shows me that the same is possible in life. Like, I can only have my best impact in the world or be in connection with other human beings if I'm bringing my real self to wherever it is that I go. So it's not that I do that fearlessly, and it's not like I do that with no effort, but it would feel dishonest, and it would kind of feel like a waste of a day or a life if I didn't do it.
Yeah. How has balance been for you?
There's no such thing as balance.
How do you do it? How do you do it? So like you said, right, like earlier in your teens, romantic relationships is like, second date,
it's
happening.
been chaotic. It's always been chaotic. I don't think there is any such thing as balance. And I think we do women in particular a real disservice by pretending balance is easy and achievable, especially when they have children. I think for me, I went into shock after I had my first kid. And it was like, I just thought, I believed what the world had said, that like we live in a time now where women can have it all. You can have your career, you can have a relationship, you can have kids, you can be at home, you can be at work. And it was just like, yeah, I can, but by completely stretching myself so thin that there's nothing left for sanity, recovery, rest, and everything was getting 40% of me or less. And I felt like I was failing in every area. Like, it's such a con, and I'm not saying we don't do it and we all do it to the best of our ability, but I think the word balance can be a fallacy because it's not even, it's not easy, it's not sane. It takes a lot. And my experience of it is just simply going this way, going that way, going that way, going this way, and just trying to, it doesn't feel like balance more than hopping around constantly.
Yeah. Did you try to do it? Did you try very hard to be like, okay, I'm going to be a good mother, I'm going to be a good wife, I'm also going to be amazing at my career and continue what I've built so far? Did you try to?
Well, the things you're saying, I of course still try to do. Of course, being a good mother is the most important thing in the world, and of course I want to do my music as well as I can and be the best friend I can or the best partner I can, whatever best daughter I can. But what felt like a breakdown was my belief in that just being sane and simple. Because actually once parenting came along, then any of the underlayers of the world we live in and the kind of patriarchal systems we live in suddenly just came to the fore in such a powerful way. Because I had been a bit naive before that. I had been a touring artist, as we've talked about, since I was a teenager. All through my 20s, I would have band members who maybe would have kids, and my flutist would come on tour, having just had a baby a couple of days before, and we'd all congratulate him. And then my bassist had a kid, and we'd congratulate him. But it never really sunk in that they were on tour with me for 6 weeks because I didn't think in those terms in my 20s. I didn't think about it. Once I'd had a kid, and it's like, oh, who's going on tour and who's doing the home? Like, it's
who's going to be with the baby?
Yeah. And so we were doing crazy things. My sound guys built a cot into our tour bus, and we did a 6-week European tour. We did 99 shows the year in the first 14 months of my son's life, and we were just like caravanning it and doing all the tour stuff that I had booked before, knowing I was going to have a kid, and I nearly broke. Any break that I gave the band members was when I was breastfeeding. And I would think that I was taking a break, but it wasn't a break because my body was being depleted. Yeah. And then I'd go right back to playing because break time was over. And this is what women have to do all the time because we don't think of changing the system. Like, it never occurred to me at the beginning that I could just go, you know what, I can't work like that. I can work this many hours and we have to be softer in our approach, or I need more rest. I didn't feel like I could say it because I felt like, I
have to do it.
Because you're going to lose something, or people won't hire you, and you have to just show up able, and it's not built to work. And here and there I see that changing. I had a real breakthrough some years later with my second kid. I worked on an album called Love Letters, and most of the people working on that were women. And one of my key collaborators had also had a baby around the same time. And it was revolutionary to me. It sounds like nothing, but to have a female producer who also had a kid, and to see that we were actually able to tailor our days to our lives as mothers. And she would come over, and a working day might be 2 hours long. And one of them was crying, so we'd stop. And they'd be playing upstairs, and we'd take a break and hang out with them and go to the garden for a little bit. And when they were happy, we would run down for 20 minutes. And actually creativity just unlocked so much more for me then, when I didn't have to think in these kind of studio 9 to 5 or whatever it may be kind of ways, and could just work it around more organically with family life. not everyone gets to do that. It's not easy, but when we can, it just changes everything.
Yeah. It feels like freedom, where you can just be and there's no pressure. I think pressure it doesn't harbor creativity.
Well, there is pressure still. It's still not nothing, but it just feels a lot more conducive to the whole process and a lot more loving to everyone.
Given the entire conversation we've had, how has your definition of love changed over the years, and how did it kind of feed into your journey when, say, a marriage doesn't work out and you have now that situation to deal with, in addition to everything else that we discussed? How did you kind of cope?
Well, that was a little while ago now.
Yeah.
So now things feel very different than
It did back
obviously
then.
in the immediate aftermath. But how do we define love? That's a whole other book we could be writing, right?
It's another podcast.
But that changes so much from early years, and I think I believed in that kind of storybook fairy tale stuff when I was younger and had stars in my eyes about people very easily, and then over time realized it's very different to that. I think having a marriage end is a very particular thing, because obviously no one goes into a marriage planning for it to end. That by definition. So in a lot of ways, it's like a bereavement. It's a death of a dream. It's a death of a plan, And so it is a real life rebuild. And so I do feel like that's definitely coming out of that is one of the big chapters of growth in my life. And weirdly, what it's given me is the journey of being a single mother, which for all of its difficulties, I wouldn't trade for anything. Like the relationship I get to have being in a single parent household with my kids is so nuanced and full and tight and precious. Like it's amazing, but I think, I just had to trust that, like, if the plan is not for you, then the plan is not for you, and clearly something else is. So I had to divert from what I thought. Yeah.
It sounds like you're enjoying that space, right? Like you said, it's so fulfilling and full when parenting your kids at home. Do you feel, and this is so widely discussed, like we've had mothers on the podcast who talk a lot about mom guilt. Is it deeper when you're single parenting? Like you're here, and if your kids are back home, are you always worried? Do you feel like I need to be home, or have you struck? I don't want to use the word balance. Learned in the same podcast, but do you feel that sense of, damn, I need to be there?
That's like that goes so deep. It's not even answerable. Like I can't even go into that. It's an impossible situation, and on a good day, it feels like it's all worth it, and my boys are getting a great example of a woman being a mother, but also being someone who is living their own dreams and having their life and not sacrificing that, yet also not doing it to the extent that I can't be there with them. And I'm, sometimes it feels like that's all, great and really powerful, actually. But on other days, it feels like no matter what I do, like I can be breaking myself in this direction and that direction, but nothing feels like enough. I'll forget a work thing because I've not slept with the kids, and then they're crying because I've been away, and then, and it can just feel like completely impossible. And I think that is universal to all working mothers, not just single parents. Obviously, there's an extra nuance with single parents where anytime I need to leave the house, it's because I've had to arrange someone else to be there. It isn't as simple as just going, my turn, your turn. There is no other turn, so that has another element to it. It just is tough. But I think also in the creative arts, there's another element of that, because to be a touring female musician or to be a creative artist, and then also be balancing these kind of parameters. There's all the cliches of the artist waiting for inspiration to strike, or, writing at 2 a.m, and none of that's really part of the equation anymore once life moves into this realm. So it's a shift.
Yeah, so relatable. I mean, I'm sure, because like you said, it's impossible to define. It's too deep to kind of like summarize. But I think you did a good job of it. When you see where Sitar and the music is going, are you happy? Especially because it's insanely now popular, right? Of course, you've had that following. More recently is another shishya of your father, who's Rishab Sharma, who also people find incredibly, I don't know, like people move to tears sometimes when he's playing in tour. So how do you feel about where it's going with the craft?
I think it's really wonderful to see the sitar broaden its horizons the way that it has, whether that's within India or abroad. Having lots of people there taking it forward is a wonderful thing. And I think anyone that's able to kind of challenge those notions of the sitar just belonging to a certain way or a certain space, all of that is wonderful.
Yeah.
Rishab is really talented, and he's clearly speaking to people in a really wonderful way. I think there are some misunderstandings about his guruship. He learnt very intensively with someone very dear to me, one of my father's senior disciples, Parimal Sadafal. And he had a couple of lessons with my father, kind of very informally, sweetly, with Parimal uncle also in the room. And obviously we knew him from childhood because he was the son of our instrument maker, Sanjay Rikiram Sharma. And so somehow that's kind of got blown up into some story about him being the last disciple or the youngest disciple and stuff that isn't quite true. But he's super talented and deserves all his success. So with or without that story.
Yeah. And how do you feel about Indian music being at the global level, right? Not just Sitar, everybody. Like, for example, Diljit Dosanjh is so big. And there are so many artists who are truly taking Indian culture to the global forum, and it's being appreciated.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, and are you excited to be a part of that movement?
I think it's been so fascinating these last few years watching such a shift and growth of South Asian presence within the global diaspora, you know, whether it's in music, whether it's in film. There's just a presence now that, you know, when we were growing up just wasn't there. And it's so amazing because we keep hearing again and again and again that now there's young people that are able to look into the fields of the pop music that they love, and they can see people who look like them. They can see artists coming from India and playing at Coachella, playing at festival, you know. And I just think that growth is so powerful because as people, we need to be seen. We need to see people who look like us. We need to know what's possible. Yeah. And that each bit helps every other bit, if that makes sense. It is really a collective presence that makes a difference.
And you've always been so rooted, and you have an India tour coming up. So
Yes.
tell me a little bit about that, and how does it still feel special to play in India versus globally?
Yeah.
How is it for you?
It you know what, there is something every single time I come back here, which always feels like a coming back. It always feels like I'm closing the loop from the last time I was here. So some part of me always feels like this is where I started and this is where I'm coming back. And that's obviously genealogically, but also musically, you know, it's where my instrument comes from. It's where the music comes from. It's where everything I learned comes from. So every time I come back, I feel like I'm offering something back to that root and that it has a special meaning for me. This journey in particular, these current album trilogy that I've been releasing and touring over the last 3 years, it began in India. The first idea I had was sitting in Goa on a New Year's Day with a journal and, you know, having enough of a calm brain to have new ideas come. And so that was 3 years ago. And then in that time, we've circled back through here as parts of the trilogy have come out. And this is the first time I'm coming back with the full cycle. So it really feels even more so like a completion of some kind. And I'm really excited.
Yeah. What are you most excited about? Is there a venue, like a place?
We're actually being a little experimental this time. So in a lot of the cities, we've made a conscious choice to play different venues than I normally do, just because I've found touring around the globe that sometimes that can make a real difference, because there are some people who know and love one venue and maybe other people who feel like they prefer a different kind of space. Maybe they prefer listening in a more casual setting or a formal setting. So I really wanted to hit different places to kind of encourage a different experience. But of the 6 cities we're doing, Kolkata is the place I haven't returned to since 2017. So it was like a red line for me where I was like, you make sure Kolkata's on this tour, otherwise I'm not coming. And so I really am looking forward to going back.
Okay, amazing.
And in fact, the venue I'm playing there was where I played my first Kolkata show when I was 14. It's the Netaji Stadium. I did a show there with my father. And so, 30 years later, that was in 1996, and now in 26 I'll be there. So, yeah.
It's a full circle moment.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. So we're going to do 2 fun segments with you. Okay, because we've spoken so much about everything to do with music, so we'll have a little fun chit chat. Okay. So I'm going to drop one next Indian artist who's like popular or trending.
Oh God, I may not know anyone.
Oh my God.
Fine.
Okay, Pratik Kuhad.
Really good.
Yeah. Okay.
Really good.
Okay. Anup Jain.
I actually don't know his stuff as well.
Okay. Hanuman Kind.
Amazing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So
really amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Arjit Singh.
Yeah, I mean, what a voice. Unparalleled. Yeah.
Okay. Who do you really want to collaborate with? Not just on a sitar level, but, on a music front, that I want to create music with this person.
Do you know what? It's actually, I feel like there's a few directors recently where I've been seeing their work and go, I want to collaborate with them. Like I see their films and go, oh, like that's the kind of film I'd like to make music for, like Homebound or, All We Imagine Is Light, or Sounds of Forgotten Tree or Songs of Forgotten Trees. I just feel like there was something about these films that have been coming out recently that I actually find actively inspiring, and I think, oh, maybe I could score something beautiful if it was a film like this. And it's that same feeling of collaboration, which is why I'm saying it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, now we're going to talk about you beyond music and you with fashion, because you're very fashion chic and people love it. So
showed up and borrowed your clothes today. That's how well I'm doing.
No, you look amazing. Okay, so can you tell us 3 Indian brands that you love, which can be homegrown, they can be smaller brands, things that you love.
I really like Rishta by Arjun Saluja.
Okay.
There's a brand called Manan,
okay,
whose stuff I've been wearing a lot. And I always travel with like one nor black nor white thing. And people always go, what's that? Who's that? All around the world.
Okay. Yeah. What about jewelry? What's your one accessory that you're like, okay, I have to have this, and it just elevates my entire look?
I mean, I switch it up a bit, but I tend to love wearing big earrings. And then I have like a little circle of rings that I keep rotating between, and I find they're kind of talismanic. Like it really depends on the mood, and like I find this ring really comforting, and this is my mom's engagement ring, so I've had it since I was a lot younger, and just have always kind of felt her with me when I wear it, and it feels really nice. So I think jewelry can do that. It can kind of connect you to people and memories in a nice way.
Yeah. That's so sweet. Okay. What about skincare? You have flawless skin.
Oh, why, thank you.
Yes. Do you have like some desi nuskas that you kind of have?
I don't have any. I mean, the only thing I'm really strict about is washing my face at night.
Yeah.
But I don't have like a single product that I am married to. I keep changing and going on a circle. But one thing I love doing is just using oils. Just natural oils. So I'll have like a mix of, olive oil and vitamin E oil and coconut oil and maybe a little orange oil and sesame oil. And if you mix that all together, it's like super hydrating, but they kind of cancel each other out and don't get too thick. And there's a few things like that.
Okay. That's interesting. This is the first time somebody said that on this.
It's really cheap too.
Really?
I mean, I just fill up the bottle every time before I go on tour, and it's a makeup remover. Yeah. It's a moisturizer. It's a body moisturizer. Yeah. It's a bath oil.
Okay, we have to ask you about food. Where in India is your favorite? Where do you enjoy the most?
Ooh, See, I lived in Delhi, but my mom's Tamil and Malayali, and my dad was Bengali.
Wow.
So it's very schizophrenic for me to try and choose one because they all feel like home. But if I had to pick, I feel like South Indian food is the healthiest to eat every day. And you can
Dosa's
get
life.
dosa, but also just there's actual vegetables that still have the color that they were born with, you know? It's like beans are green and beetroot is red.
Yeah.
So I love like poriyal and stuff where it's just
Yeah.
everything's really fresh and delicious. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. So we've reached the absolute last segment where there's something special. It's a mehfil, right? So we have somebody who wants to perform for you
wow.
one song. It's their original.
No
And-
way.
Yeah, and you'll see in just a few minutes.
Okay.
And they're very excited to perform for you, obviously. So Anoushka, we have 3 people who want to play for you. They're going to introduce themselves, and then we have a mehfil.
How lovely.
Hello, it's an honor to be here and to meet you. My name is Mahi Zaveri. I'm a practicing Hindustani classical vocalist. I've been training since the last 10 years, and I'm all of 20. So it's a really, I feel very blessed because the name Anoushka plays a really huge part in my life because my elder sister is also Anoushka and she shares the same spelling as well. So, and of course your music, and you inspire so much. You're such a, role model for me and for aspiring women musicians of this generation.
Thank you.
This is
So nice to
Tanay
meet
Regi.
Hello.
Namaste, my name is Tanay and I'm a student of Shri Praveen Karkari ji and Pandit Yogesh Samsi ji.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, I have been learning the tabla for about 17 years now.
Okay. Amazing.
Namaste, my name is Aniket and I play Indian classical music on the guitar and I've been training for over a decade now.
Amazing. Oh, I can't wait to hear you all. Thank you.
We would love to sing 2 short pieces in Raga Yaman Kalyan for
Beautiful.
you, and we hope you really like it. Do pardon all our mistakes. हूँ मैं तो बेवार, तोरी नजरिया लगे प्यार। आ
That's so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can't believe you're 20. What? You sing like... Yeah, amazing.
I wanted to give this to you.
Aw, is that the jasmine I was smelling? Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
It's from all of us.
Thank you. Thank you for performing. It really means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
I
Yaman's
think
one of my favorites.
It's
so.
always been that we go to concerts and we have global artists like you performing for us, but it's never really that we get to perform
Sure.
for
Yeah.
somebody like you. So
Yeah.
I would also really like to thank the team at
Yeah.
Humans of Bombay for giving us this opportunity and for allowing us to share
Yeah.
a little bit of our journeys with you.
Oh, you
and
should-
also
you should be
engage in
heard. Yeah, it's-
conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, truly. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all of you, and for coming here and performing for her. And thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, that was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
said that I'm 20. I mean, I also wanted to ask you that I've always been the younger one, the youngest in all the spaces I've inhabited for any sort of musical endeavors. And most of the times I feel a little intimidated. Sometimes I feel like it's going to be a nice challenge for me. Or I feel a little pressure of how the older people or the senior people in the room would, judge my work or feel like it isn't adequate enough. So, what would you like to tell me, because I am even the youngest between the three of
I
us.
mean,
He's about 30 and I guess...
Yeah, we all need to know your age,
Thank
right?
you. Thank you for making everybody feel older.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a valid point. I mean, I was always the youngest person in the room by far. I was playing with people in their 30s when I was 14, 15, and then slowly I was kind of one of the youngest, and then I was in the middle, and then now I'm very much in the other direction. But one thing that age is, that voice in your head about maybe I won't be good enough, or maybe other people won't think I'm good enough, isn't about age. That is just like self-doubt or artistic desire to do the best you can, and that may always be there. But what will also always be there is your artistic truth. And that doesn't matter how young you are. Like, you start singing and I can hear your sincerity. I can hear your heart. I can hear you in your performance. And that's there, So even if someone maybe doesn't take you seriously for a moment because you're young or because you're female or anything like that, when they hear you, they'll know. So you just trust that, you have that in you, and just you have that with you wherever you go.
I think that's really it's empowering to hear that.
Well, it was a treat to hear you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Anoushka,
Pleasure.
for coming.
Thank you. That was really beautiful. Thank
being
you.
a part of Mehfil, and
Thank you.
just honestly one of the most real conversations I've had. So thank you so much for
Thank
that.
you.
And we wish you all the best for the India tour.
Thank
and
you so much.
Also now I
What's
have
the
something.
Latin America tour?
Oh, you want to come to Brazil instead? Yeah, we just announced we're going to Latin. So it'll be my first Latin America tour. But before that, we're here in India. So, so please come and please come and see the show.
Yeah, and
Please come.
I'm there. So we come to an end, and of course we're so excited for all the tours coming up,
Me
but
too.
also the Grammys, and it's your 12th and your 13th.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're all rooting for you.
Thank you so much.
And it's off my bucket list also. I have an interview with somebody who's been nominated. So
Oh, that's very sweet.
Yes.
Thank
For
you.
all of
So-
us also, we got the chance to perform in your presence.
yeah.
Thank you. It was a real treat. Thank you. Thank you all so
Thank
much.
you so
Thank
much.
you for doing
Thank you.
this.
And we're going to get you to really quickly sign the guitar.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure. Cool. I have to see who else is on here. Nice.
We got it
Is
after.
that Shilpa?
Yes.
Oh, no, yeah. Nice. That's the only one I can read.
Who else? We got this bright idea after the episode with Shankar Mahadevan sir, so his is not on it.
It's so hard as a left-handed person to write with wet ink.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you have to be like
That, yeah, so
Yeah.
it doesn't smudge.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.